What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to give you what I think is one of the most underrated and under-practiced tactics in the modern game. And most of you don't know about it because when you watch tennis on TV, you're watching the game from a very high angle. But this skill is used a lot by the pros, but you can't tell it because of just the way that we're forced to view tennis on TV. So I'm going to show you guys this little secret tactic, and hopefully you guys can immediately apply it to your game and see the results of it. Let's get into it. And before we get started, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe if you are enjoying the stuff that I'm putting out. We're trying to get to these numbers that these different channels have given us in terms of working on collaboration videos. We have hit our first goal of 2,500. I'm in contact with the first channel, and we were trying to work out the logistics of it. So today's tactic, I call it, because of just me coming up with a name for it, I call it the high line change. So the reason why I call it that is because it's a change of direction, but the change of direction is deceptively simple. So if I'm in a cross-court exchange right here, I'm rallying cross-court, forehand to forehand, and this applies also backhand to backhand, because sometimes people like to ask me, forehand to forehand or backhand to backhand. What's happening in our rally is usually just like with a boxing match, we're just jabbing back and forth. Now, most times when people change direction and go down the line, they go down the line in an aggressive manner. With the high line change, you're actually going to do it the opposite way. And the reason why we do this is it's deceptively apparent to your opponent. I don't like that. Let's say it a different way. It's deceptive to your opponent because they think that they're in control of the point. You've gone from hitting neutral or aggressive to slowing the pace down. And what ends up happening is you put your opponent into a false sense of security with their follow-up shot. And you usually are able to take control of the point immediately after this shot. So looking at it from the back angle, here's what it would look like. So normally you'd be in this cross-court exchange, going back and forth at about this pace or whatever your aggressive pace is. And the goal here would be just to basically set each other up and try to create an opening on the court. Now the high line change goes from this neutral or aggressive pace to this pace right here. That ball is significantly slower than the shots that I've been hitting cross court. And the reason why you don't want to go with this shot here is because you immediately put your opponent in a defensive mentality. You want them to feel comfortable, but because the ball's so far away, they're not really able to do a lot with it. As a result, they don't immediately think defense. They don't throw the ball high and loopy. They also don't think attack because they haven't set this up. As a result, you usually get a shot that's kind of mid, like right in the middle, and that allows you to then take control of the follow-up shot. 80% of balls go cross court. So as soon as you change direction and go with the high line change, you're going to shift yourself back towards the middle of the court. But it allows you to be a little proactive with attacking the next ball because in most cases, the shot that comes back is not super aggressive, nor is it super defensive. So what ends up happening is you get yourself into a better court position to take time away from your opponent on the follow-up shot. You're not going to win with this, but you're going to be able to shift the point from neutral to offense with what is technically a defensive shot. So switching to a live example, me and Emily would be in a rally where we're playing the point out, and I'm basically maintaining this pace right here. It's not super aggressive, but it's a low ball that me and her would usually be using. That change right there puts me in a position to then win the point. So that change, if you look at it from like a aggressive to defensive spectrum, most people would think that I was defending, but that was a conscious decision to slow the ball down and pick it up. And because there was no real clue with Emily in terms of what I was going to do with the ball, she didn't give me a short ball. She also didn't attack me and force the defensive shot. That completely breaks off her rhythm. And as a result, she's not ready to run to that side because she didn't create it. She's also not anticipating her having to switch to like a completely different rhythm in the point. Most times when we change the rhythm, it's based on like a give and take. So we'd be playing and she'd have to react to a shot like that, in which case she in her head can see something like that coming. But that high change, that's a whole different thing. Now, granted, she didn't get the change of direction, but I'm taking a bigger risk on for that shot. The high line change is actually a shot that takes less risk, gives more reward. You just have to be prepared to be more proactive with your feet. So that's going to wrap up this video, guys. I'm not going to go super in-depth with teaching you how to hit this ball right now. There's a bunch of other videos that we've done specifically on the technical aspects of lifting a ball up, creating more spin. This is just something that I want you to apply tactically to actually help yourself with being able to dictate the points on purpose. Again, the two main things you have to remember when you do this are, one, you have to set a rhythm that is faster from the beginning. So you're rallying cross court, let's say you're rallying cross court at like 70, 75%. When you change direction, you have to drop that pace down, because if you go 70% one way and 70% the other way, you still are staying within the rhythm and the person's movement doesn't have to change. Secondly, when you make the change, you have to increase the height, because if you increase the height, you don't make the person panic. They take the shot for granted because the ball is slower. And what they usually end up doing is just giving up some of the baseline without even consciously doing it. And that allows you to put yourself in a good position. Emily said it off camera. She actually knew the drill we were doing, but she still couldn't react to the one shot that I hit because there was no tell that it was coming. There wasn't a setup that made me defend. There wasn't an invitation for the change of direction. We were just in that cross-court rally, and I decided consciously to pick the ball up and change the direction. So when you do this drill, or when you do it in your point play, just make sure you follow those two things. One, stick to your rhythm, and then drop your speed. One, and then two, stick to your pace and height, and then increase your height. So you drop your pace, you increase your height, and you're gonna make the person relax, and you're gonna break their rhythm, which gives you a chance to capitalize on the next ball. That's gonna wrap up this video. I hope it was valuable. If you know anybody who will benefit from it, send it off to them. But until then, we'll see you in the next one.